It was a propaganda campaign to create an illusion of consensus about lockdown that didn't actually exist. It was not following the science.
Look, as a journalist who's done lots of Googling, I don't think you know what you're talking about, because I've heard on good authority that we were only following the science.
Do you regret the decisions you've made and locking down so hard?
Well, at the end of the day, you either follow the science and the health advice or you don't.
So we're often told in the media, are you an epidemiologist? What would you know?
I did my research, Craig, as you asked us to do. You need to listen for a moment.
But hang on, listen to
Are you a scientist? Are you a scientist, Craig? I'm not. I'm not. I would like to take my medical advice from someone who is knowledgeable in infectious diseases, is an epidemiologist.
Yes.
You need to be quiet.
So I'd like to ask an epidemiologist, were we following the science?
No. We were not following the science. So first, the idea that the lockdown was the right way to deal with the pandemic, that the lockdowns were the consensus position among all relevant scientists, was a lie. And it was a lie from the very beginning. You mentioned the Great Barrington Declarations. It's a document that I wrote in October of 2020 with Sunetra Gupta, probably the world's best epidemiologist at Oxford University, and Martin Kulldorff, then of Harvard University, who's a fantastic biostatistician epidemiologist, designed the vaccine safety surveillance system that the United States use. So we wrote this document in October 2020 calling for a focused protection approach. The idea was that you protect older people because of that; those who are high risk from the disease, and for the rest of society, lift the lockdowns because that harms them in terms of their health and many other outcomes much worse. Kids, for instance, like Ramesh said, right? Tens of thousands of doctors, epidemiologists, scientists signed on almost immediately within 4 days. That was not an accident. The consensus position was never lockdown. As Ramesh said, the plans never called for lockdown, the original plans. Most scientists didn't think that lockdowns were the right thing to do. But the scientific bureaucrats, the ones that were telling Dan Andrews what to do, they misrepresented what the scientific consensus was and created essentially a propaganda campaign that resulted in so many scientists censoring themselves, staying silent. In my country, in the United States, the head of the National Institute of Health wrote an email to Tony Fauci, another person who works in the National Institute of Health. You may have heard of before. I don't know
yes, everyone knows
Fauci. He wrote that the three of us who wrote the Great Barrington Declaration were fringe epidemiologists.
He called you that. Yeah.
He called me a fringe epidemiologist.
Well, you're in Stanford, Oxford, horrible
Stanford,
places.
I know those are
Harvard.
Minor places. And then he called for a devastating takedown. I started getting calls from reporters asking me why I wanted to let the virus rip. What did I have against grandma? It was absolutely remarkable. Like, I spent my life trying to think of ways to make people healthier, and all of a sudden I'm getting accused of wanting to kill people. When really what I'm interested in is protecting people from the harms of lockdown, protecting older people from the harms of the disease. It was a propaganda campaign to create an illusion of consensus about lockdown that didn't actually exist. It was not following the science.
I'm supposed to retort, but are you an epidemiologist, Jay?
I actually am, believe it or not.